Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to another episode on the Bodybuilding News Network. As always, I'm your boy Saunch. Welcome back. We're going to be talking about the Arnold Classic. Now, you might be wondering, which Arnold Classic? Saunch, there's so many Arnold Classics. South Africa, Australia, the European Arnold Classic, the Arnold Brazil, Arnold Ohio. No. We're going to be talking today, right now, we're going to be talking about the Arnold Brazil, aka the Arnold South America. Now, this is going to be the first Arnold Classic outside the Ohio Arnold Classic. Now, typically, we're going to be seeing the Arnold Australia just after the New York Pro, so we've got just a few more weeks, about 4 or 5 weeks out from where historically the Arnold Classic Australia is going to be. But in this video, we're going to be talking about the Arnold Classic Brazil. Now, I'm going to be honest, there has been not a lot of conversations about the Arnold the Arnold Brazil, the Arnold South America, however you want to call it. But in my opinion, I think this is going to be a very, very good lineup. I think there's a lot of great fellas in here. And luckily, we've been privileged, we've been blessed with just a couple pro debuts. Now, typically, you're not going to have pro debuts at an Arnold Classic. But we're lucky here. We have at least one coming into this show. And correct me if I'm wrong, please let me know down below. Is the Arnold Brazil a invite only, or is that just the Ohio? I'm not too sure, but I'd love to know in the comment sections below. What do you guys know about that? What do you guys feel about that? But anywho, let's go ahead and start off with the lineup, because I'm sure you guys are biting at the bit to know exactly who is competing here. Now, I will give credit to where credit is due. Mr. Daniel over at Bodybuilders Without Borders, one of the best, if not the best, bodybuilding outlet, bodybuilding news outlet, if you will, be so bold, has posted his own lineup of athletes, competitors, men that are doing the men's open bodybuilding division at this year's Arnold Brazil. And that's because I guess the Pro League didn't really put out a very complete lineup, if I'll be so bold to say. So Daniel's done a fantastic job doing a collage, a overview, if you may. So let's go ahead and start off as we're just a few minutes in of me just rambling, but I know you guys love my rambling. Let's go ahead and start off with the first competitor, and by far the favorite to win the show, and I know all of you are waiting to talk about, Rafael Brandao. Now, Raf Brandao is by far, like I said, the favorite to win this show. In my opinion, the last time we saw him was at the 2021 Romania Muscle Fest Pro, where he won, clinching his 2022 Olympia qualification. This was the show just after the Olympia. And if you do recall, it was either the Olympia or the Arnold Classic. He was not able to compete because of medical conditions, the C word, if you know what I mean. So it's good to see him getting back on stage and ready to attack this show. Now, I do appreciate whoever it was that corrected me on the previous video talking about our boy Raf Brandao. He did not win the last Arnold Classic Brazil. He placed second, so that is a good correction. But like I said, he won his most recent show. He also had a plethora of other shows within that European circuit, the as I like to call it, the European Grand Prix, to include North Africa and the Middle East. Back in the day, in the 90s, they actually used to have the German Grand Prix, the Poland Grand Prix, like all these different shows. It was a whole Grand Prix circuit. It was very, very cool. Obviously before my time, but I know you bodybuilding historians love that kind of stuff. So Raf Brandao, like I said, getting ready for the Arnold Classic Brazil, and probably for the fourth time, by far, the favorite to win the show. His most recent physique updates are superb. Just thinking just a few days out, I think he's absolutely ready. I'd like to see some back shots if I'm being a critic. He has been somewhat soft from the back. Just looking at these Romania Pro shots, you can see a little bit of skin folding in that lower back. Now, if that's him holding it or if that's just a little bit of water, a little bit of fat holding, not too sure. His glutes could be harder, so I think he can be harder than this. He can be leaner, and I'd like to see that. But overall, phenomenal, world-class physique, and I look forward to seeing him on stage in, 2 days? 2 more days? Something like that. Or maybe even tomorrow. I'm not too sure, but this show's coming up, ladies and gentlemen, so we're excited to see Raf Brandao step on stage. Next up, another gentleman that is sweeping the pro circuit by storm, a favorite after his most recent top two, I believe, pro debut from, of course, I'm going to butcher it as I do, emiromeragic. That sounds about right. A Chris Aceto athlete, the real technician, Chris Aceto, a whopping 23 years old. Like I said, the elite priest, like I said, do you like my tail? God, I love that. It's such a great intro. Anywho, placing second at last year's Big Man Weekend Pro. You can see by the photos on the screen. Phenomenal, world-class physique, great midsection. If I'm going to be a critic, I like to give it in a compliment sandwich, a little critique, and then finish up with a positive. Like I said, phenomenal physique. I'd like to see a little bit more development. His front lat spread is world-class from the gym, but on stage, it doesn't translate as well as we'd like it to. And he looks just a little narrow in some spots. I'd like to see more chest development. I'd like to see him crunch the abs, do a little Nick Walker here and see how that looks. I'd like to see that. I really, really would. But overall, great conditioning, phenomenal separation in the quads, leading all the way up into the posing trunks. Again, we look at people like Big Ramy. We look at people like even Hadi Choopan. And they don't have that crazy separation all the way into the posing trunks. That's why I like to see phenomenal from Mr. Amir here. Expect him in the top 6. If he falls out the top 6, gosh darn it, somebody else take over this channel because I don't know what I'm talking about. But Mr. Amir, best of luck on your second pro show, and none other than the Arnold Classic Brazil, a phenomenal show to come into. Next up, I'm a fan. I love this guy. He really bursted on the scene last year from his side chest shot. If you do remember, I know you saw the photos. I know you've seen the photos. Words are hard. Saw the photos is not how you say it. He placed top 3 at last year's Big Evolution Pro. I believe it was in Portugal or Spain. It was part of that European Grand Prix that we talked about recently, just a second ago. Mr. William Martins placed, like I said, top 3. Phenomenal physique. Now, I will say he brings great conditioning, great separation. He has a really good upper body and a really good lower body. But there is, in my opinion, but of course, please let me know if I'm way off here, but there is something not as pleasing about the front double and the front back. From the front, it's almost as if his midsection is too long. And please let me know down below if I'm way off here. But the midsection, the way he's holding the vacuum, I feel like it's taking away from his physique. I feel like it's taking away from the aesthetic, the flow of his, his God-given or his Allah-given structure, however you want to say, whatever God you want to praise. But from the back as well, I like it, but again, you can kind of feel like the torso, the abdominal area, even from the back. I know you can't see the abs, but I just feel it's like a little too long. And I feel like it's not complementing his physique as much as it could. But of course, let me know down below. But all the way on the left, you can see that historical side chest, probably one of the best side chests I've seen in recent open history. But of course, again, let me know your thoughts on William Martins coming into this Arnold Classic Brazil. What are your thoughts? What are your predictions? I've seen some comparisons of him standing side by side with none other than Rafael Brandao battling it out in the bodybuilding Instagram space, hypothetically for the 1 and 2. Now, I will say it's going to be a tough battle. I think there's a lot of good names in this lineup. I think there's a pro debut. There's some 212 guys coming up from 212 to open. Lots of potential, lots of talent. But again, best of luck to William. Next up, we have Vitor Hugo Boff, a Brazilian competitor. This is going to be, from my records, please correct me if I'm wrong, as always, in the comment sections below. This is going to be his pro debut. The last time we saw him was, I believe it was the Arnold class, words are hard, the Amateur Olympia Eastern European, where he won his pro card. So rolling into, what a blessing. What a phenomenal way to build your career, Mr. Boff here. Winning your pro card at an Amateur Olympia. I mean, Olympia, it's got the Weider name on it. And then you're rolling into an Arnold class, literally one of the biggest shows of the year, Arnold Classic Brazil. I mean, this guy, just the way his lineup is being selected, the shows he's rolling into, this could be a phenomenal career. So, and then you look at his physique. I mean, gosh darn it, he has a great physique. I love the structure, very aesthetic. Nothing's overblown. Great arms, great chest. Kind of gives me a Sergio Oliva Senior vibe, but with better legs, if I may say so, to make a bold statement like that. The structure, the arms, the high lat insertion gives me a Sergio Oliva Senior vibe. Based off his most recent Instagram post, on the left, you can see you're doing some leg extensions. It looks like he's coming in shape. He looks like he's in shape, conditioned, vascular as heck, and got a nice, shiny, chromed, shaved head. So definitely expecting Mr. Vitor to do well. This is going to be his pro debut, and there is a phenomenal lineup here. So I'm not sure where he's going to line up, where he's going to land in the lineup. But I love his look. He looks phenomenal. So best of luck, Mr. Vitor. Next up, but Mr. Lins here will be competing in the Men's Open. Like I said, everyone in this video will be doing the Men's Open. The last time we saw Mr. Lins was at the Puerto Rico Pro. Also, we saw William Martins there as well. So kind of nice to see several people coming back from the same shows. But Mr. Thiago, I'm sure I'm butchering it, but Mr. Thiago Lins, he placed 14th at the Puerto Rico Pro. And obviously you can see by these photos, he wasn't in the best of shape. Not a lot of separation in the quads, a little bit of droopy softness in the chest. So definitely could have improved on that package. He also, for some reason, I don't know if he holds his back double bicep like this, but I feel like it would be a lot more beneficial to showing that peak, that Kai Green-esque peak of the bicep by bringing those hands in just a little bit, curling them in, turning them towards your ears. So the palms are facing towards your ears. And now, obviously, I'm not a pro. This guy is. So, maybe he knows something I don't know. But I feel like that would help him. But overall, hopefully we get to see more conditioning from his most recent physique updates. it looks like he's having very similar conditioning. But again, he has a few more days to clean it up, a few more days to sharpen that physique coming into this Arnold Classic Brazil. But good structure, good flow, phenomenal quads, great quad development, great hamstring drop from the side. And, you know, gosh darn it, he has a pretty good Instagram as well. So if you're interested in seeing, it looks like a lot of these fellas from Brazil have this darkness sponsor. So check that out as well. Maybe they have some cool clothes or something, but they all seem to be rocking that darkness swag. Anywho, next up we have, again, apologies, Mr. Sibusisokotelo. It's not even close. Sibusisokotelo is an athlete, 60,000 followers on Instagram, so I'm sure I'm butchering it, but, you know, I might have a little bit of disrespect on not being able to say his name, but gosh darn it, does he have a great physique. And you know what? He's coming into the show. He looks great from his most recent Instagram posts. He looks very much in shape. And, you know, I don't want to get ahead of myself, but I think he could do really well this show. Now, there's going to be some discrepancies here because the last time we saw him was in 2019, and it was at the Korean Monster Zim. I think it's called the Gym, Monster Zim Gym Pro. It's an interesting title, but also they have some crazy out of this world lighting that really shows just such a world-class physique. Look at the quad sweep on these photos. Look at the midsection. Just ridiculous. If he brings anything near what he brought back in 2019, this guy's going to be top 3, hands down. The structure, the flow, the tiny, I mean, I can't even fathom this midsection. It's so small. It's so complete. Look at the Christmas tree from the back. This guy, let me tell you, Mr. Ketelo, if this guy brings anywhere near the conditioning that he brought in 2019 to the 2022 Arnold Classic South America, aka Arnold Classic Brazil, let me tell you guys, it's lights out. Top 3 minimum. He calls himself the kid prodigy, and I think that his structure really speaks to that. So although I can't say your name properly, good sir, best of luck on the Arnold Classic stage in Brazil. Now, this gentleman coming up next, kind of a cool competitor. He turned pro, I do believe, in the 2018 Amateur India Olympia. So another really cool title to have, an Amateur Olympia win, and also a champion of the China Grand Prize in 2019. Another kind of interesting title. But Mr. Arash Eskandari will be competing at this show. And correct me if I'm wrong here, but I believe he's a 212 to open, or at least, gosh darn it, he looks like a 212 guy. Very stout and very built, very well built. A great structure. You know, we can look at those old photos from, I believe this is the India show. He's using that dream tan where it gives him that bronze gold look, and gosh darn it, this is just such a phenomenal physique. The tiny waist, the great flowing lats, nice biceps, by the way, and a very complete set of triceps. The wheels, the department of the legs is phenomenal as well. Expect him to do well. It really depends on if he's going to bring that tiny midsection, because, you know, we're looking at a photo from 2 days ago, and the midsection doesn't, no disrespect, obviously this is a very skewed photo. It's not as close, but you can see, although it's covered up a lot, you can see the midsection kind of blown out. So I am worried that the midsection might not be what we're seeing from these 2018 photos. So I'm hoping it's not. But if he brings anything like the structure we're seeing on the right. This is a first call out physique by far. So best of luck, Mr. Arash, into this Arnold Brazil Arnold Classic. Next up, we have, I do believe it's, his name is Edu Rodriguez, but I do believe it is Eduardo Rodriguez. The last time we saw him, he placed 5th at the Big Evolution Pro, last year's Big Evolution Pro. And I picked out his most recent lat spread from his Instagram. Such a great flowing structure. Great Dennis Wolf-esque lat spread with the high lat inserts. And I can't say I'm impartial because he looks like a taller gentleman. I'm a taller gentleman. I feel like my lat spread is similar to how he's presenting his. Obviously, I'm not a pro, so my physique's not going to compare to his, but he looks great. The question is, is he going to be able to improve from that fifth place finish? Is he going to be able to land within this top 5? We have quite a few more great competitors on this lineup. I've said it a few times. I'll keep saying it. This is a really in-depth lineup. Very complete, very full. Lots of great competitors. But Mr. Eduardo Rodriguez coming into the show, looking phenomenal. Great structure, great physique. Now, Mr. Cruz Bodybuilders, or Marcelo Cruz, is one of those darkness athletes we just talked about just a second ago. A Brazil native, if I do believe so. And he is coming into this show looking great. I would say, although his conditioning is phenomenal, the separation is phenomenal, he is somewhat blocky in a way that I feel is going to pull away from his physique. Now, I don't know if it's the midsection. I don't know if it's the way he's posing. He's very traditional in his physique presentation. He doesn't do a lot of flair. Very bodybuilding-esque. Just going up there, Nick Walker style, hitting the mandatories, getting it done. Bringing phenomenal separation and conditioning, but I feel like he's not presenting his physique in the best way that he could. He feels, or I feel that he's very stationary on some of his poses. I feel like he could present it in a different way. But like I said, before I got into my potential critiques and ways to improve, amazing conditioning, amazing separations. The last time we saw him wasn't too long ago. We saw him last year. He did the, if I do believe so, he did one of those European shows. It's slipping my mind, but I know I have some photos for you. I think he did the Romania Pro actually. And surprisingly, for how much conditioning he brought to that show, he didn't place too well. It was outside the first call out. And he could place within the first call out at this show, but it definitely is going to be an uphill battle for Mr. Cruz. Again, kind of speaking to the depth of this lineup. There's not a crazy amount of massive names. We have Rafael Brandao, we have Mr. Emir, William Martins. We have those people coming into the show. But outside of that, a lot of these guys, in my opinion, not massive names. So there's going to be some opportunity for him to land in this top six. But I don't know if it's the same caliber as his last showing. So I think he's going to be very comparable to his last placings. Obviously, no disrespect. Sometimes words are hard, but Mr. Marcelo Cruz, great physique, amazing conditioning and structure. But I'd like to see, just add a little bit of flair to the posing. I think it would take him a long ways. I think it would really add to his repertoire of posing. Moving along here, I know it's going to be a long one here because I'm just having so much fun recording it for you guys. I know you guys enjoy these rants, but Mr. Alan Ramiro Bonademon. Again, no disrespect. what a great physique. Younger fella. He seems to be very, very fresh, ready to, jump into these pro shows and really kill it here. He's been sharing some phenomenal physique updates. I like to say phenomenal a lot, but genuinely great physique, looking just really, really good. The lat spread, amazing, world class. I do believe, correct me if I'm wrong here, ladies and gentlemen, but we have another pro debut from Mr. Allen here, winning his pro card at the Puerto Rico Pro. Correct me if I'm wrong here. I think they actually had it in Jamaica last year, so it should be called the Jamaican Pro. But anywho, that's just a side tangent. I do believe this is his pro debut. Expect him to land, 6 to 8, unless he really, really gets a good look from the judges. Me, if I was judging this would be a top 6 physique. Obviously, I'm not a judge. I'm not even a pro. So, shoot, I'm not even an NPC competitor yet. But I will be soon. This guy, just such a great physique. Tiny midsection, great flowing lats. He looks like a taller fella. But y'all have to let me know. He's been coached by Chris Aceto, so he's going to bring the conditioning. He's going to be ready. But again, I would like to see Mr. Allen here land in the top 6, but who knows? Definitely let me know in the comment sections below, ladies and gentlemen, your thoughts on Mr. Allen and his potential, if it is his pro debut at the Arnold Classic Brazil. A veteran in the sport, a gentleman, he's been around for just a little bit, Mr. Jefferson. I do believe it's Jefferson Santos as I scramble through my notes here. And it's been a little bit since we saw him. The 2019 Arnold Classic. So a return to the Arnold Classic stage is Mr. Jefferson Santos. Great back definition and muscle maturity. I would like to see more conditioning just based off of his most recent physique updates. He looks a little soft, looks a little watery, the midsection in the quads from the front. I'd like to see more. I'd like to see just a little bit sharper. This was 4 days out, so I don't know if we're going to see the best package from Mr. Jefferson Santos. Obviously, no disrespect, but he will be coming into this show and he will be competing here. Another competitor looking absolutely just diesel, jacked, yoked, just maxing out on the muscle. Very reminiscent of a Hadi Chupan, if I'll be so bold, is Mr. Imanrezaei. Of course, I'm sure I'm butchering it very, very badly, but this guy looks just phenomenal. We saw him almost classic-esque at the 2021 Europa Pro in the 212. Now, he did place outside the top 10, but I do think he's made some serious improvements as he makes his debut into the men's open, or at least he makes his transition. I don't know if this is his first show or not, but great development. He's made some serious improvements from his 212 showing at the Europa Pro. Where he's going to land, maybe 6 through 10, if he really brings that separation that, his most recent physique updates have been phenomenal. So he could land in that top 6 if he gets a good look from the judges. But overall, great structure, great physique. Expect him to do well, but it really is going to depend on what the judges are looking for in this show. But I always like to see 212 guys jump into open, and I love to see 212 guys sometimes jump into classic if it fits them better. But ladies and gentlemen, I know this is a long one, so I do appreciate your attention and your retention of sticking with it and watching till the end. Please let me know, as always, ladies and gentlemen, all my super fans, please let me know in the comment sections below. Comments, critiques, compliments, of this video and what you would like to see in videos coming up in the near future. We have a lot of shows. I know Mr. Jared Keys is doing his last classic physique show of the year this weekend. You know, I'm just talking to you guys casually now, as the super fans are really the only ones who stay this long. I know Jared, a good friend of the show, we have an interview with him on the channel. He's doing a show this weekend, and I know there's a handful of NPC shows. So, James, Jessica, King, all you fellas, Billy, let me know if you guys want to see those NPC coverages, or if you guys just want to see the pro show coverage. You know, let me know. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the most recent men's physique interview I did. I know you guys really enjoy those interviews, especially Billy. I know you guys enjoy it on the treadmill listening to those long formats. So this is another long one. So genuinely, from the bottom of my heart, I appreciate you guys so much. Honestly, you guys are the reason I keep making these videos. So keep giving me your feedback in the comment sections below. Let me know how I can support you, as you guys do so much for me by watching these videos. But again, I'm Saunch. From the bottom of my heart, thank you so much, and I'll see you guys in the next one.